What up, everybody? Welcome to the 16th and final basic training, the very last basic training. Give it up, give it up. Congratulations. We are here, number 16. As you noticed with this email, there was a lot of other things there. You got a PDF, you got a form, you got a discount code, nothing that you really have to worry about. Um, nothing is required of you. But if you have the time, check out the PDF. I'm really going to be going through the questions here with you as the final training. If you got time and space, there's a 6 question questionnaire, I guess, a 6 question feedback form for you to let me know how you felt about this training. Let me know how you think it should transform. And also, all answers are anonymous. No one's email gets submitted um, with any of the forms. So you're free to really tell me how you feel. No pressure of it getting back to you or anything. But I do have a section in the bottom, unless you do want to say your name or whatever contact information. This is for like if you want to keep discussing what you've entered. Let's say if you want to be a co-host, stuff like that. So let's get into it. Before we get into the PDF, I want to thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my corazón. I want to thank you for allowing me to share my creative experience with you, for allowing me to make my art. When people ask me like, "What kind of art do you make?" Be like, because I tell people I'm an artist, obviously. What kind of art do you make these days? I more so like to say that I'll run a collective. That's my art. Because I always tell you, right? Art can be anything. Art can be anything that you create, right? And so when people ask me, "What's your art?" I'd be like, "I run an art collective." That is my art, and no one's questioned me about it, yet. Um, Hopefully they won't, because these days I have not been doing well um with criticism, which is interesting. Speaking of criticism, have you or have you not ever had a critique? In my school, in my in the School of Visual Arts, where I went to college for art school, we had things called critiques, where you put your artwork up, um, and it's not necessarily for people to pick you apart, but for some reason, people chose this moment to pick each other apart, and it was terrible for some. For some, it was really great. Um, and so you put your art up, and the goal is that your peers will give you like will tell you how they see the art, right? Not necessarily how you should change it, but more so how do they see the art? Um, how does it translate to them? Um, what else? Things if someone's come across an artist who has done something like what you're building, they'll give you like suggestions like, oh, you should go check out such and such artist. They also do this. I think you'd really like them. And stuff like that. Would you be interested in holding a peer I don't want to call it a critique, right, anymore, because what ended up happening in my school is that I was in a school with people who are my classmates, but not necessarily my peers. Um, and so it was hard for them to understand why I wanted justice and certain justices, right? Because they didn't experience those same things. So for them, it was just like, why are you going so hard? you know? But that also helped. Long, all that aside, do you feel like we should have peer reviews? And I also I kind of want to stress less critique, more just showing other people what you make. Um, a lot of times we make things so isolated. We're artists, right? We make things not necessarily always alone, but for the most part, we're making things by ourselves. And sometimes, it's good to to see how other people see your art. Sometimes it's good to get some feedback from others. So if this is something that you think that we should do, let me know. Excuse me. Let me know, and I'll see how we can put that together. Right. I know that some people have been making art while on this basic training. Maybe you want to show that to the rest of the people who took training, right? Or maybe you're now deciding to make something cool, after watching training, or maybe you're gonna go watch the rest of the training, this week, and something sparks, right? Let me know if you would want to have some type of a peer review or something of that sort when it comes to your art. And also seeing other people's art. Um, like I made 2 paintings in the last 2 months, right? Within these 16 weeks, right? And I haven't showed anybody. Well, my partner see them, but my partner has seen them. And I think I posted one on Instagram, but I made it like part of the 10 slides. So really you would have to slide through to see the painting. I didn't really highlight it, but maybe that's something that I would want to share, right? If we hold that, I definitely want to show you my paintings. Um, yeah. Let me know if you'd be interested in that, right? All mediums, painting, um, drawing, coffee shops, flower making, all things are welcome. All right. For this last final basic training, we are going to go over creating something from start to finish. We are going to go over steps to creating something from start to finish. Now, these aren't steps that you most absolutely have to make, but there's some things to consider, right? And I've also, again, made you that PDF form. You by no means have to fill it out. I'm just asking you to think about these things because there are things that will come up in your creative process, anyways. There's some things that you can think of ahead of time that might help you. So, creating a piece of work from start to finish. The first question that I would ask is, what is it that I want to make? And the first and the second question actually sometimes for me personally, because of the way I think, they come interchangeably. So I'm gonna insert the second question right now, and that is, what concern is this addressing, or what emotion am I trying to express? So I just threw 3 questions at you, right? Whoa, slow down there. So what is it that you want to make, right? What is it that you want to make? Do you want to make a book? Do you want to make a pair of glasses, a pair of sunglasses? Do you want to make a candle? Do you want to make a face mask? Do you want to make an incense? Do you want to make, I don't know, a deck of cards? What is it that you want to make? Think about that. All right. Let's say I want to make an ID card. All right. I want to make an ID. I don't know. This is just what's in front of me. So I was like, we're gonna make an ID, right? We're gonna use this as the example for us to go along these questions. So also, if you can pull up the PDF at the same time, if you're somebody who has to see the question while you're listening to the question, if that's your learning style, do so. If it's easier for you or more practical for you to look at the questions instead of looking at my face, do so. Learn how you need to learn, right? All right. What are we making? An ID card, right? What concern is this addressing? Well, identification, right? This is how people will know that I'm me. What emotion am I expressing? I don't know, individuality, uniqueness, right? Is this is off the dome. I honestly, I don't know if I should have picked ID, but this is what we doing, all right? You want to think about what concern is this addressing and what emotions are you expressing? And that will keep you. The reason why I asked those 2 questions, right, is because I've noticed in my own art practice, when I want to make something and I don't know why I'm making it, I lose interest. And that's okay. You can make something that you're not interested in. I'm not the boss of you. But um when I want to stick with something, I like to think about what concern am I addressing and what emotions am I expressing. Just like when I thought about giving up this basic training many times because it's a 16-week program and we started in September, right? Did we? 4, 8, 12. We started in August. Did we? Well, that's a long time, y'all. There are many moments where I was like, oh, I don't want to get up and do this. Um, but that's not true. I did want to get up and do this. I did want to get up and do this, right? The reality is that I do want to do this because there is a concern that I do want to address, and that is that I want artists to feel free and also I want artists to feel free in creating what they want to create, but I also want to motivate them to make that thing that they want to make. Okay. It's important to me. So I had to address that in order for me to stick with it, right? What emotion am I expressing? Gratitude. Gratitude for other artists being on this planet, right? I'm also expressing with this project encouragement. I'll say that's an emotion, right? Joy for other artists being here with me. So the next thing you want to think about is, what do you need for this art to happen? What do you need to make manifest that thing, that idea that you have in your mind? What do you need for it to be made a reality? Because ideas are great. Ideas are amazing. Um, but when they're just ideas. And maybe you can be that artist that only makes ideas. That would be cool, actually. If you can somehow, yeah, that would actually be cool. But that's not the type of artist I am, right? I notice that when I have a lot of ideas and I don't make them, I just make more ideas, and then I don't feel good. I don't feel good that I didn't make these ideas, right? It makes me feel good to actualize these ideas, right? I had an idea of having a boot camp, a basic training for 16 weeks, and I feel good that I did it, right? Let's say I had an idea to get an ID, to make an ID, and I made it. And so I feel good that I made it, right? And again, I'm not the boss of you. I'm not the boss of anybody. Shit, sometimes I'm not the boss of myself, right? But telling you what works for me, I want you to alter this, however, in whatever which way. So, what do you need for this art to happen, right? What materials do you need? Do you need certain space, right? I need a place with internet in order for basic training to happen, right? What materials did I need? I needed a mic, not really. I needed some headphones, my laptop charger. And get specific in your mind. Again, you don't have to write these things down because I have a breath work coach, or one of the breath work coaches that I've worked with in the past. Their name is Jamila Reddy. And Jamila always says, I don't want to see liberated notebooks. I don't know where they got this from. Um, Maybe they can tell you who told them that. But that always stood with me. Like, I don't want to see liberated notebooks, right? Because you can be writing all you want, but that doesn't actually make the idea reality still, right? So I want you to think about this so that you can actually do it, right? So think about it. What materials do you need? What spaces do you need? What else do you need? What other things do you need for yourself? Do you need certain protective gear? Do you need goggles? Do you need gloves? Do you need, headsets? Is it going to be loud what you're doing? Do you need equipment? Do you need other people, right? Do you need other people to pull this thing off? So that is, what do you need for this art piece to happen? And then I like to ask myself, what needs to get done, right? What actually has to get done step by step in order for this to happen, right? Um, And I like to get really specific. I like to get really specific and think about the project from start to finish, right? When it comes to, again, basic training, um, I thought about from start to finish, in the mornings, waking up, doing the video, saving the video, emailing the video, well, saving the video to Google Drive, emailing that video, and so on and so forth. So I want you to get really specific, right? Get really specific. What do you need to do so that this gets done? And actually, I want us to take 60 seconds right now. Take a few seconds just to, you can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, and I want you to take this moment to just visualize. It's not something that you have to know that you're making, but let's say take one idea of all of the ideas that you have. Take one idea and visualize it from start to finish right now. Go. All right. So hopefully you took some time to visualize your project, or maybe you disassociated. That's okay too, right? But whenever you can, take the time to visualize your project from start to finish. And for those of you who did visualize their project from start to finish, what did you see? Right? Remember those things that you saw, write them down. Um, what stood out to you? What was something that you visualized that you hadn't visualized before, right? This is a good way for your project to grow, right? Because you can visualize making a painting, or you can have an idea that you want to make a painting of a flower. And when you take that moment to visualize it, it might transform into a flower that looks like a faucet. I don't know. So take the time to visualize what needs to get done, right? And again, you don't have to write down the steps, but just take the time to visualize what needs to get done. The next thing you want to think about is, when can you allocate time to get those things done, right? When, when can you work on your art? Is it only after 8 p.m.? Is it only on weekends? Is it only before 8 a.m., right? A lot of us have jobs and other responsibilities, other things that we are a part of. And you're going to have to work around those things, right? But you're going to have to also be honest about the time that you do have, and the time that you don't have. So think about, when can you put time aside to make this art, because we want this to manifest. We want this to be real. And so you're gonna have to be real with your time, right? You can't just let it to chance. You can't just let it go to chance where you're like, well, I'm gonna make it this week at some point this week, one day. No, it might work out for you, but it also might work against you. So figure out when those times can be, and just because you put, I want you to put these in your calendar. I want you to set reminders. You know how you can put it in if you have an iPhone. I've only had an iPhone. I don't know how Androids work. So I'm sorry to the Android users. Is no hate. This is all I know, okay? When you put something in your calendar, you can set a reminder like remind me 2 days before, remind me 1 hour before. Put them in your calendar, set those reminders, right? And let your phone work for you. Um, Now don't beat yourself up if you missed, the day, or several days. Don't beat yourself up because you also want to work in flow. This is just setting you up for progress, right? But don't punish yourself if you missed a day. That's fine. Put another day in your calendar and try again, right? And if things like setting, I would say if things like setting dates turn you off, um, then I would ask you to really shift your days around your art. Because you want to make sure that you're really doing this, right? You don't want it to be, you don't want, oh, I don't like calendars to be your biggest excuse. You don't want that. If you don't like calendars, that's okay. Then make your art all the time wherever it fits. Um, but don't neglect your art altogether and make this pile of excuses. It's not going to work for you, right? And if there are a lot of excuses, if there's a blockage holding you back, explore what that is. Do you want to make this project even? What is holding you back from making this project? Do you even feel, the questions from the beginning? Do you feel like you want to address these concerns anymore? Or are you emotionally um engaged in this thing that you want to express, right? Um, yeah. Let's not neglect our art, okay? I'm I I'm grateful for basic training because if I was not making basic training, I would feel like I had neglected my art for sure. When it comes to my streetwear, I've been designing here and there, but I haven't been necessarily putting my the energy that I want to put um into militia for the outcome that I want. And I had to be real with myself. I have to be 100% honest with myself, right? Because who's gonna tell you? We're not in this. This is our art school right here, but who else is gonna tell you, right? Actually, in the towards the end of this question, towards the end of this list of questions, there I do state that there are people who are gonna help you with that. But for the sake of this point right now, you're gonna be the one who's in charge of your art, okay? All right. So we went over what do we want to make? What concerns do we want to address? What emotions are we expressing? What do we need for this piece to happen? What when can this get done? When can we allocate time? Put it in our calendar. And now once we put it in our calendar, we're going to have a party because congratulations, okay? What is making all these little steps if you're not celebrating yourself, right? We want to get out of the habit. We want to get out of the habit of only celebrating at the end. It's something that I want to get out of. It's something that maybe you want to get out of too. Maybe you don't. But I personally feel like when it comes to your confidence, celebrating all the wins are important. Okay. So you put things in your calendar, have a freaking party. Okay. However, it is that you want to have that party, right? Celebrate that you did that. Celebrate that you're watching this. Celebrate all the small wins. Small. They're all big, right? Because all of these wins add up to that moment of, your art being a real thing, right? And I keep saying a real thing, but ideas are real, but they all lead up to manifesting this idea that you had in your head. So that's very important. Even if one of the steps in your calendar is to write down your idea in your notebook, but let's say for that day you only opened your notebook, celebrate that. Today I opened my notebook. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself because yesterday I didn't open my notebook and today I opened it. Who knows what you're going to do tomorrow? All right. Hold on now. Who knows what you're going to do tomorrow? All right. Congratulations to you. All right. So celebrate all the steps. Um, the very last point that I want to make, right? The very last point that I want to make is on community. Um, it's on community. Whether you filled out this sheet or the idea is still in your head, I want to encourage you to tell a friend. I want to encourage you to tell a close friend about your idea. Um, I want you to a close friend, right? Not a hater. Because haters, eh, you know the rest. I want you to tell this friend your idea. And hopefully, if they're your real friend and you're passionate about this beautiful idea, this thing that you want to make, they will celebrate that with you. They'll celebrate that you want to make this with you, right? Um, you're not asking them to, I'm not asking you to ask them to help you make it, but I do want you to ask them if they can hold you accountable in whichever way that works for you, right? Ask them, hey, can I, you're a close friend. Can I share this idea with you so that you can hold me accountable? And, they might say yes, they might say no. They might say, I don't have the time for this. And that's okay to respect, you know, what what space people have. Okay. We're in the practice of respecting other people's space, okay? Um, but I really want you to tell a friend, I really want you to tell somebody that's close to you that this is something that you want to do so that you can so that you can keep talking about it with them, right? So that you can keep discussing this so that they can hold you accountable in whatever ways. Maybe you both come together and say, I would like to, talk to you about this once a month. I would like to show you my progress, once a month or every other week. Is that okay with you? And maybe they have something that they also want to share with you, right? Maybe that can be that kind of exchange, but I really want you to share this. And if you don't feel like you have close friends that you can share your art with, I would encourage you to make friends. I would encourage you to make friends that you can share ideas with, and that can hold you accountable in whatever way. I'm not asking for these friends to punish you, right? Because we're not punishing ourselves. So we're not in the business of having other people punish us, okay? We want to be treated the way that we know that we deserve to be treated, and that's that, right? So I'm not asking you to tell your friend, hold me accountable, and then they're yelling at you next week because you didn't show them your art. That's unnecessary pressure that will not help you. Okay? Um, also if you would like to send, I think I might be open also. Like if you would want to send me an idea and you want some feedback, maybe, shoot me an email and I'll give you whatever feedback that I have, right? I'm not necessarily an expert in anything, but I don't think many people are experts. But um that was I had a whole side note in my head about being an expert, right? Because there are always things to learn. Um, but I can give you feedback on where I am, right? Just like your friend you can also invite your friend to give you feedback. They might know about what you want to make. They might not know too much about it. But just like a critique, like how we spoke about earlier, they're gonna show you how they see it. And that's okay too, right? So that's what we got on this final wonderful basic training number 16. It's been such a pleasure. to be here talking to myself, but knowing that I'm sending this to, you know, many other people who decide to also reach out to me. It's such a blessing to talk to so many artists, and meet new people, meet new artists. A lot of you who are watching this, I just met you. Um, so I'm very grateful for that. And I hope to see all of the wonderful things that you have to make, right? Until next time, peace. And don't forget that there are some 3 extra things in this email. All right, once again, until next time, be easy. Peace.